hey, wait for an hour 40 in for the actual intro.
Carol Baskin killed her husband, whacked him. Can't convince me that it didn't happen. Fed them to tigers, they snacking. What's happening? Carol Baskin.
All right, we are back with another episode of Waiting to Dry. Still quarantining.
Hell yeah.
But we took our precautions.
Yeah,
Josh installed one of those things that astronauts get when you have the...
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been in rooms where you have to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where you, like, if you go into a clean room, you have to go through, like, or just, all it does is just spray, like, push air onto you so all the dust kind of, like, gets taken off of you.
Oh, okay. Is that all it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least for clean rooms, that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
So that because you're going into a room where you don't want any dust or anything.
Okay.
So it's literally just blowing the shit out, like, from anywhere you might have it, and then you step on these sticky pads.
Oh, okay.
So you don't track any dust in from your feet.
Get off of your feet.
Yeah.
Is that from the place you spend 8 hours at that we shall not name?
Yeah, where we do test on aliens.
Yeah.
Was that it? Did we do an intro? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the intro. Whatever.
Waiting to dry. Yeah. And this is your welcome.
And I'm Sergio Lopez.
And this is the Waiting to Dry show. So have you been
episode 99?
Oh shit, is it?
I think it is, yeah.
Damn. It's kind of sad that we're going to be doing episode 100 and the thing. You have a little boogie.
Do I?
Yeah. I wouldn't have told you, but
it's gonna bother you though.
You'd say stuff and I'd be like, wait, what did you say?
Yeah.
Like, you okay, Josh? And then after the recording, I'd be like, oh, you had the boogie the whole time. I just didn't want to say it on the mic.
That's hilarious. But the one thing you're shy about, like, talking.
I'm never embarrassed of telling people if they have, like, shit in their teeth or
right
boogies in their nose. But on the mic, I felt like, this is rude. Because usually you tell someone, you're like, hey, you got a little thing in your thing.
Right, yeah.
But then, like, it's like, hey, you got a little thing in your thing. Also, we recorded it and we're going to send it out for the internet to hear.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So how drunk have you been getting, Sergio?
Averaging about 4 drinks a week at this point.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Like 4, like, drinks, like, that's one drink? Or, like, 4 times you drink?
Probably 4 times I drink.
And then
but usually it's like a drink or 2 at most. But not a lot.
Yeah,
haven't been going too crazy with all that.
Yeah, me neither. I went crazy in the very beginning.
Yeah,
I was like, well, not in the very beginning, but like maybe like
when all the shit set in.
Yeah, like 3 weeks in. Well, I had a bunch of like random shit that popped up that like took a lot of like stress and shit. So then on top of the coronavirus shit, and then so when all that kind of slowed down, it slowed down. All of a sudden I was like, oh, that was horrible. Time to get my drunk on. And
yeah.
So I got really drunk a bunch of times.
Did it help?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Probably not. But it felt good.
Right.
Well, what happened was I did one of those like Zoom things, with a bunch of friends.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And they wanted to play drinking game. Shout out to Bill. And,
yeah.
And I was like in that weird, like, I've been stuck inside and dealing with this extra shit. So then my brain was like, time to get shit-faced drunk. And then after drinking a bottle and a half of whiskey, I was like, whoopsies.
Not sustainable.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah. So what else is new with you? MJ didn't let us talk pre-podcast so that
Yeah.
so that you could tell me exactly what everyone else is doing.
Right, exactly, yeah. Staying in, painting a lot.
Hell yeah.
Finishing up that course that I've been working on.
How's that been going?
Good so far. Now just kind of in the state of starting to have to advertise it and all that. So
Right.
I've been doing things focused somewhat around that. Like started getting on my YouTube channel a bit more and trying to do like Q&As for people about it. Or not just about that, but like just about like plein air stuff in general. Stuff kind of related to the course if possible. But yeah. Like, I don't know, just all that stuff just takes up hella time too.
Yeah.
But I've been painting at the studio a lot as well, and trying to fit in a lot of just like daily painting as well.
They didn't close it down?
No.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have sucked. Like, well, yeah, I don't know. Like, they would have to waive the
fees?
The fees, I would imagine.
Maybe. I mean, I assume all businesses are still paying rent.
Yeah.
Unless
I
they
guess
get
so,
some like
yeah.
help from the government or something.
I guess you're right. Oh, speaking of, have you gotten your stimulus check yet?
Got it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Dang.
You? No?
No. Well, what happened is I was going on the IRS website and it's telling me like, oh, like you qualify. You just need to enter in your bank information and it'll tell you like, you're supposed to verify. You're supposed to write like your adjusted gross income. And, for whatever reason, it doesn't go through, even though I'm taking it directly off of my tax return. So yeah, I don't know. And there's nobody you can talk to right now. Like, there's not even an email to talk to anyone with. So I think I'll just have to wait until like rejects and then they send me the paper check. So who knows when that will be.
Yeah, that fucking sucks. Well, when you get that money, make sure to ball out. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Ball out on, rent and credit card debt. Yeah.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. Have you had any sales or anything during this time?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well with the selling the paint drip things, like doing all those little food paintings.
Yeah.
Guess what? People like food a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. Just the whole idea of like getting into my sketchbooks again and just painting just for the fun of it. Really, it's like I don't know why I got away from that so far for such a long time, but it's making me really love painting again.
Can you pinpoint like roughly around the time where that started?
God, probably like years ago.
Yeah.
When I was not, when you're in that mode of just painting for shows all the time, there's hardly any room. I would say probably when I took the framing job, because that just took up more time that would normally be spent on, I guess, working on more art in that way.
That wasn't that long ago.
No, it was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
2.5 years ago at this point. But yeah, that just like, I think that just made me put more of an importance on like the studio painting, because I just had less time to do that overall. And then it just, all the stuff that wasn't like for money making was kind of put on the back burner. So
isn't it kind of funny how it works? It's
yeah.
like you like try to like pinpoint what's making money, and then when you stop doing that, all of a sudden you start making sales. It's like,
right.
You know what I mean? It's like you can like, it's like, oh, I'm going to just start painting food for fun. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, these are selling. It's
right.
Like,
yeah.
I didn't do this with the intent of like selling. I did it for funsies.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. It started, because I was, there are just, a lot of them are just prompts from, Heather's Facebook group. And then they just end up, from there, they just kind of branched out, and, Vanessa and I have been going out and painting together a lot too. So that's kind of that like, just kind of encouraged by somebody else doing the same thing along with you.
Right. And she's probably super excited because it's probably like a lot of like for her, it's probably huge growth every time she's like,
oh yeah,
you know,
she's definitely in that.
She's in that like every step you take is a humongous step. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see color now.
Yeah.
I could dance.
Right. Yeah, I could dance.
The hills are alive.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to become one of those people who are like, when people are like, what's the secret to making successful paintings? You're going to be like, secret ingredients, love, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I love to it. Nice. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm interested to see where, like, if people, tag you in the paintings they buy, where those paintings end up, because I wonder if people see food and think like, oh, this might look cool in my kitchen, or if they just really think like a hot dog looks funny in their living room. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested in seeing that too.
Yeah, that'd be a cool kind of like to kind of like then go back from there, because I feel like depending on where that painting ends can kind of make you understand why they might purchase that.
Right.
I mean, if it's in their kitchen, they might have like imagined like, oh, that would be cool to have like a painting of food in my kitchen. But if it's an In-N-Out burger in their living room, then it's like it inherits that like comedic kind of like thing I feel like we talk about a bit.
Yeah.
Like of adding something a bit humorous without beating you over the head. You know what I mean? There's something funny about an In-N-Out burger, but it's not like
out of context.
It's not like the Three Stooges type comedy, where it's like doink, boing, 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 boing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, oh, that's kind of funny. Exactly. So
yeah, I mean, would putting it in the bathroom be too much?
No, I don't. Maybe, actually, now that I think about it. Depends on how your poo's doing. You know what I mean? Right. It might be fine unless you have explosive diarrhea and you're like, fuck you, burger.
Right. I'm here because of you.
Yeah. You did this.
Yeah.
You and your friends.
Right.
But yeah. Or if someone's got some weird food fetish.
True.
Yeah. And then they have it in their bedroom on their ceiling.
Right. Yeah. Not a fan of that.
Yeah. I've been like thinking about, because since the quarantine, we've been, trying to work on our house, because you're in your house for fucking, a whole month, just kind of looking around and nitpicking shit. And one of the things I realized is like how much I enjoy my artwork in my house.
Oh, cool.
Being like, God, it's nice to have like paintings and I keep thinking like, I feel like, well, I'm going to personally do it, but I'm like, I think artists that have art should like start showing it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, be like, check out how cool my house looks because of the artwork I own. Because I don't know. I think, there's something good about that. Even if you're not promoting yourself, you're promoting like how cool art can change a room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that sometime last year, and it was fun to hear like other people react to it and just talk about their art they have and stuff. It's kind of a interesting conversation that gets opened up talking about the art you like, just because like, I don't know, I think at the end of the day, that's part of the reason we're artists, because we like art that much. And
for sure,
that's part of like, I guess it's kind of the somewhat one of the end goals is like to make enough money from your art to get more art.
Right.
So, like to be able to actually like talk about like the end of the road like that in that way. It's kind of interesting.
That's one of the cool things is like, you're like, I wish I had enough money to buy all the art I have. And then you realize like when you start getting good, you're like, I can just get art for trading.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
I'll just do that. Like, I don't need enough money. I just need to like have some extra paintings lying around.
Yeah. That becomes your currency in a way.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it's kind of like a little bit of a superpower. Kind of.
Yeah. Like, have you thought of it like in a marketing sort of way? Is that kind of what you've been?
That's what I mean. Is like, I feel like people are kind of sitting around their house being like, oh, like we should, you know, and I feel like a lot of artists right now are like support artists.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a good route to that would be like if artists started just showing their art and being like, this is how, like, I mean, not only like should you support artists, but like you get something awesome out of it. Like it's not just like support artists. It's like you get a product that's one of a kind that makes your house look fucking awesome. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. But, but yeah, I mean, it's just a thing that I think if artists did that more, like kind of like show off the pieces they have and how they're hung. That's the other thing. Like,
how
like
what
they
frames
look
they use
in a room,
stuff.
and how it might change a room. I think is just something that I've been thinking about a bit since we've been stuck inside. I had a conversation with my brother, and I was like, and he was like, "You should be telling people that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I should be."
Yeah. Well, good thing we have a podcast for that.
yeah, exactly.
Have you ever thought of just like throwing on the Instagram Live?
That's exactly what my plan is.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, I'm going to do an Instagram Live. That's why I've been making all the frames for my pieces.
Okay.
I have a bunch of extra like pieces that have been waiting to frame, and I got 2 more pieces this last week. So I was like, all right, let's do some framing and then frame all my shit, and then after that, put them all up and then show them off to the world.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so that's the move. It's gonna happen soon.
Nice.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Check Joshua the Lawyer on Instagram. Yeah, that's cool. I like the little David Polka you got right there.
Yeah, David Polka. I got a Word to Mother recently, which MJ hates, but I'm
not familiar with Word to Mother.
Yeah, I'm a real big fan of his work. He actually doesn't really post his fine art anymore. He was one of the guys that got fucked by white walls.
Oh, really?
Fucked by white walls hard.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, shit.
He had 2 sold out shows that were like not cheap.
Okay.
And yeah, I was talking to him when I was purchasing this piece, and we were going back and forth, and White Walls came up, and I was like, oh, by the way, fuck that guy. He's like, yeah, fuck that guy.
So he never recouped anything from that?
I'd be surprised, because he was overseas. He's an English guy.
Oh, okay.
He's a guy from England. And I heard that the overseas people got fucked the hardest.
Oh.
Because there was just no way of like going in and being like, give me my fucking money right now. I'm not leaving. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like ability to like press it, at least with like, in that sort of way.
Right. Damn.
So, yeah. So I'm sure he got real fucked. We have some prints, and MJ traded for that piece right there. The piece that I did the burnt wood on.
Oh, okay.
It's an original, but it's like mixed medium, but mostly color pencil.
I'm trying to remember who the artist is.
I don't know. It's kind of like a smaller, like less known artist. I think she was like a big fan of MJ's.
Oh, okay.
So she was like, do you want to trade?
Yeah, it looks like somebody who was probably in our little Instagram chat thing.
Maybe.
That chat group we were in.
No diss.
Yeah. I just,
you know
can't
me,
recall.
You know me in names.
Well, the problem is I don't know her either, so, or him.
It's a her, I believe.
Yeah.
It's weird how like
by the
the
style.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, right? You're like, I think that person's female.
Right.
And then you're like, no, and you're like, well,
maybe they should look into that.
But yeah, so painting a lot, nothing else, no gardening or making sourdough bread. What?
I'm trying to think. I mean, other than like the food podcast, that's about it.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
Pretty good. I mean, it's, you know, I don't know how big of an audience we can ever expect it to have, but it's kind of fun that like friends listen to it.
Right.
We just had Tony on.
Nice.
So that was fun.
I ran into Tony recently. Yeah. Did he say?
Well, yeah, it was probably at the nursery, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we were both making fun of it. you guys talking about him because MJ butchered his name, and then you proceeded to correct her by butchering his name as well.
Wait, his name isn't Tony Giraldi Brown?
Yeah, but you said like Garbaldi or something. Or no, MJ said Garbaldi, and you said Grabaldi.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I got it right this time. She probably influenced the way I thought. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah, it's okay. He doesn't listen to podcasts. But, yeah. So, yeah, that's been fun. Just, it's kind of just an extension of how we normally, nitpick our food we get anyway.
For sure.
So, yeah, it's been fun. Just kind of, it's just become like another little side project that we're just doing for fun. I mean, for the most part, waiting to dry is kind of just a fun endeavor too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that one's just totally like, we have no expectation of it, like growing or anything. I mean, it would be cool.
Lowered expectations.
Yeah, remember that from Matt TV? Or was it Matt TV? Yeah, I think it was. But yeah, it's purely for fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's kind of cool because it does make you think about like all the different places we have here to eat, and it's a lot in Sonoma County. I'm sure there's a lot of places in other counties, but for some reason it feels like there's a ton of places in Sonoma County, and they just keep popping up. So
yeah,
we'll have material for forever.
yeah, that's one of those like it's like there's like a podcast I listen to called Pen Pals or something. Yeah, Pen Pals.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh yeah, well, you guys just set up a thing that you guys don't have to like think about content. You just make your people make your listeners like write you guys, and then you guys are like, cool, thanks. We'll talk about this for an hour,
right? And
we're done. And you're like, God damn it!
Yeah,
so
exactly.
easy and smart,
right?
Well, you guys are professionals. The interview setup is so fucking difficult. Or like, yeah, but. Talking about podcasts, I wanted to bring up something. So I was on John Wentz's podcast, Lo-Fi Podcast, recently.
Yeah, and I was on there too. It hasn't come out yet. But
nice. And they there was a guy who like when my DMs on Instagram gave me feedback.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, thanks, blah 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 blah. And then he was like, and I like did a little self-deprecation, and he was like, oh, well, you sound like a really good guy. And I just wanted to bring this up because John's listeners are much nicer than Waiting to Dry listeners.
Are they?
All I'm saying is, would it hurt you guys to, say, hey, Josh, you're a good guy? You know what I mean? Not say, what pencil, or like, you're a real PC or, things like that. Would it hurt you?
I think you're setting yourself up for some real reverse psychology there.
All I'm saying is, would it hurt you to say something nice? He's like, you know what? You're a good guy. I was like, wow. You know what? I've never heard that from a group of people that I call the PCs. This is all I'm saying, guys. So maybe look at yourself in the mirror and go, hey, maybe Josh needs something nice today. Like a pat on the back, a wind beneath my wings. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm...
That's hilarious, because I don't get those mean comments, quote unquote, other than what's his name, Dubrovsky can't ever help himself, but other than him, yeah, I get the nice comments, but then I probably get way less comments than you do.
Must be nice. Yeah. All I'm saying is, you know what I mean? Maybe just, hey Josh, hope you're having a good day. Yeah.
How many podcast comments do you get, like, on average?
I don't know. Not that many. I feel like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't really pay attention to it. Usually I'll just say, I mean, usually it's someone just trying to fuck with me. And usually it's not necessarily a podcast comment.
Oh, okay.
It's something where I can tell they listen to the podcast. And I'm like,
all right.
oh, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
You're not calling me a good guy. That's what you're doing the opposite. You're going, hey, Josh, your feet smell like shit.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. They don't say that.
Okay.
But they probably will not, you fucking assholes.
Well, at least you know they're listening.
But yeah. I don't know, do you have any topics you want to talk about?
Shit, I probably should have.
I got one.
Okay.
So the other day, right, I saw on Instagram, whatever, because we're stuck in our house, so.
Right.
So I was on Instagram and, I assume that you probably get a lot of advertisements that happen to be artists.
Oh, sure.
Know? So I get this Instagram, advertisement of an artist and he's painting like a wave, like a weird wavy trippy thing. And he's using, both his hands to paint it.
Oh, okay.
Not only is he using both his hands to paint it, but his left hand isn't doing much. It's just kind of in the shot doing slight wiggles, maybe like 1/4-inch wiggles, while his right hand is putting in all the work.
Okay.
And all I'm trying to say is, but why? You know what I mean? Like, why are you doing this?
For the gimmick? Yeah.
For the fucking gimmick. All I'm saying is, if your work, which his work obviously was affected by this idea he has that he can paint with both of his hands, which he obviously cannot. All I'm saying is, maybe if your work gets diminished by your gimmick, maybe don't fucking do it, is all I'm saying. If your marketing fucks with your artwork, maybe think twice before doing it. I'm not dissing marketing, but maybe make sure it doesn't make your art shittier. So don't put in a second hand and be like, look at how talented I am.
Yeah.
Maybe just let your art say how talented you are and then figure out a gimmick to build exposure a different way.
Right. I'm trying to think if there's any other gimmicks like that I've seen that have gotten in the way of the art itself.
I'm sure
there are, but I mean, the usual thing, it doesn't necessarily get in the way of the actual art itself, but, you know, all the people, hot girl selfie type, marketing gimmick.
Yeah. But there's also like those speed paintings.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of shit where you're like, are you a performance artist or an artist? Because if you're an artist, that painting fucking sucks. But if you're a performance artist,
right,
then I don't know, maybe learn to dance or something. I don't feel like this isn't the best way.
You mean like if it's on a stage and it's like a 60 by 80 canvas that you're doing in an hour?
They do those like 10-minute like Jimi Hendrix things where it's upside down and you're like, and they flip it right side up and you're like, cool, you filled in a stencil drawing that you had light enough so people couldn't see, and you're like being over dramatic and throwing paint around and people are like, whoa, but then they flip around, you're like, not great, man. I feel like anyone could literally do that.
Right.
Just as long as you can find a stencil drawing of a fucking generic image that everyone knows. So if you get it close enough, people are like, Jimi Hendrix. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's see you do that with fucking Alexander Graham Bell or some shit. Let's take away Marilyn Monroe from the fucking equation and see how good that piece is. See if people are like, oh, that's our 18th president. I don't know what our 18th president is.
Right, yeah.
Like, I would recognize that guy anywhere.
Oh, you're a Chester A. Arthur head? Oh, shit.
Exactly. Don't fucking pick the most iconic images that are already fucking made so that you can recognize them if they're, it's like those like Chuck Close will do like those like extremely like loose images or whatever where you're like, that's Abraham Lincoln.
Right.
You know, or some shit like that. It's like, you can get so far away from the actual like image and people are still like, I know exactly who that is. Mm-hmm. And these motherfuckers painting upside down, probably double handing it as well. Cause you know what I mean? That means you're better at art.
Right.
So for all you listeners who are double hand painters, if you look back at the footage and your right hand's putting in all the work and your left hand's kind of just there, you know what I mean? Maybe don't anymore. Are you looking through your comments right now, Sergio?
No, it wasn't in my comments. It was in my DMs.
Oh, sliding in. Who slid in?
I thought it was John.
I can rant about more shit if you want while you're looking for it.
Sure.
So,
what else you got?
So I've been watching the TV show Dave. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it. I heard it's good, though.
It's Lil Dicky, the rapper. Mm-hmm. So obviously, then you guys all, if you're not familiar with Lil Dicky, obviously his name sold you, and you're going to go Google him right now. But he made a show, and I've been watching it, and actually I've been really enjoying it. It just finished right now, recently. Mm-hmm. Their season finale. The episodes are extremely short, so I feel like if you really wanted to binge watch it, you probably can do it in like half a day.
Okay. How many episodes you say?
8. Okay. I think the episode's like 20 minutes long, so I mean, you could probably binge watch it in an hour and a half or some shit. I mean, no, that's like in like 4 hours, 3 hours, some shit like that. I don't know. Do the math. You guys do the math.
Yeah. I found it, and it totally wasn't John Wentz.
Who was it?
It was Gerard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I'll just read it. What do you think of the artist pledge hashtag thing? I have mixed feelings. For one, it's preaching to the choir with me. I don't have a lot of money, but a few hundred or more goes to art every year regardless. Mm-hmm. And there's a thin line between coming off needy and desperate and adapting to the new struggle.
Right.
Let's see. Also, not to sound like a snobby jerk, but when I first looked at that hashtag at 75,000 images, more than 60% were trash. Recently, I've seen some great work with people promoting that. Yeah, you know what about that artist pledge thing where it's like, where for every 1,000 sold, you spend 200 on art? Every
$1,000 sold in art?
Yeah.
You spend it on other art?
Yeah. Or you spend 200 on other art.
Fuck that.
Kind of like this pay it forward sort of thing.
Pay it forward. Goddamn artists are the worst. I swear to God. It's like, can an artist get ahead?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I get what it's trying to accomplish, but
if you're like, I don't know everyone's fucking situation. I don't know your bills. $1,000 in California is like 5 cents.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
In Detroit, go buy yourself half of a house, you know what I mean, with $1,000. It's like the way money works isn't like this amount is equal worldwide.
Right.
It's based on where you live and your purchasing power. Mm-hmm. So if $1,000, if you make $1,000 in Detroit, I mean, first of all, giving $200 away might be I don't know how many fucking kids you have. I don't know all the financial burdens people have. It's silly to think that you should pay it for. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Buy it if you can.
Right.
Trade if you can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. One thing. Yeah. Yeah, just trade.
It's bad marketing is what it is. It's silly stupidness of like, make people feel obligated. I mean, it's a way to make people spend money for sure by making them feel like they should, like there's some obligation to buy art, but I don't know. I think it's much more cooler if you market yourself well, and that's how you sell your work, not by putting pressure on other people. I don't know. It's silly.
Yeah, I don't know if they're actually putting pressure on somebody else.
I mean, there's definitely...
I guess maybe there's like this social pressure aspect of it.
100%. If you say every 1,000 you make, spend 200 on art, and if that becomes a huge movement, you might feel obligated to join it.
Right.
And if you feel obligated to join it, they just took, it's 2%. I understand it's not that big of a chunk, but you have to pay taxes on that 1,000. So that's 30%. So you lose 30% and you lose 2%. And then you have, assuming that your food and your rent take, I don't know, close to 50% of, at least, of your fucking paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, so you're already out 80% of your paycheck. So now you only have 20%. So you're saying 2% of 20%, which is a big fucking chunk, of your money.
Right.
On art. I mean, it's silly.
Yeah. Spend what you can on art if you want.
Don't make a fucking silly rule.
Right.
It's like religion when they're like, put 10% toward the church. You're like, where? The fuck does it say that in the fucking Bible, first of all? Second of all, if it did, that's some bullshit. I mean, it's bullshit anyways, but that's some extra bullshit. Like, you're taking 10% of my money? Bro, chill. God, make more money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Just make it rain over the church.
Yeah. I guess the problem with that whole spend 1,000 on art, or spend 200 out of your 1,000, that's assuming that the money you're making on art is expendable, and it's not for the majority of people.
I would say whenever dealing with your finances, always set it up where you go, after I make this much money, I take out this much money from taxes, I take out this much money from my from like other bills that I have to pay, and then from there, how much money do I have to spend on things that aren't necessary? And then from there, break down maybe a percentage. Maybe go like 2% of that I will save.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah.
Until maybe I have enough money to buy a piece I want. Don't do a fucking 2% of my gross.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, that's silly.
And it's not even 2%; it's 20% if you're doing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is 20. I don't know. I thought 2. Yeah, sure. 20%. Yeah. Fuck, that's crazy.
Right.
It's literally the last. If you take away taxes and food and rent, which I'm assuming would be roughly about 50%.
Maybe more. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe more. Then you're literally handing away your last 20% of your money.
Right.
It's fucking dumb. This is why artists are poor.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking stupid. Market yourself well. We're not trying to make artists broke. Don't make artists feel pressure to buy art.
Right.
I mean, make rich people feel pressure to buy art.
Yeah.
The fuck? Set your shit higher.
Right.
Damn. I don't know. I don't like a lot of the shit going on in social media right now. I'm kind of annoyed as fuck with.
Oh, really?
The art world in general is like annoying me. I'm like, God damn it. You guys are marketing losers. I mean, it's so much marketing going on right now, and it's so like not subtle. You know, for an art form that prides themselves in subtlety, like this is like such a token of artist. Oh, it lacks subtlety. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
right.
Oh, this is too in your face. It lacks subtlety. And then all of a sudden they're like marketing. They're like, and they're just like in your fucking face. And you're like, hey, maybe try to like do some fucking mind jujitsu or whatever, you know what I mean? Like maybe try to be a bit subtle in the marketing end as well.
That's a good point.
Goddamn.
Speaking of, how's your website coming along?
It's coming along.
Nice.
I feel like I got like, I'm right there. The sketchbook thing is the one thing I have left to do, which I've recorded videos of me flipping through my sketchbook. I haven't edited it, so that's the next step. And then once that's done, my website's up and running, and I've got everything, every other thing done.
What do you need to do to edit it?
Just see if it's worth doing, like if it looks good and if it reads good. And if it doesn't, then I'm just going to take photos of my favorite images in my sketchbook. But, I I still have to edit it, but I've been doing like a lot of like, I feel like I've been doing a shitload of projects. So I've been painting. One thing I've realized is that first, that my job makes me miserable, like absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
Like I know this is shitty times and quarantine and all that shit, but God, I have been like maybe the happiest I've been in a while.
You know what? I kind of feel the same way too. It's not even that my job makes me miserable. It's just that this is what makes me happy. It's just like realizing that.
Yeah. And then my job makes me miserable.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, not only that, but like that time that I spend there, I realized that like I've just literally been neglecting my house and like all these responsibilities because I have art. So obviously something has to lose. So then we just do the bare minimum around our house.
Right.
But then not having my job, it's like, it's nice kind of waking up and having breakfast with my wife and then us going into our studios and working and then coming and like figuring out little things to fix around the house. It's like, we're never not doing anything. It's just, I mean, I don't know if we're more productive doing like in our art world, but it's just such a nice schedule. There's a lot of stuff I'm doing for art, like my website or like a lot of like design stuff for like future mural type stuff that I'm not going to post online, but it's a lot of like art there's a ton of work I'm doing. That's just, I'm sure like you, like with your classes, it's probably very similar.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like putting a shitload of time into it that you just didn't have because of work. It's like, it's that great thing where you're like, I'm working at my goals type of deal.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That I just am really stoked on.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree with that. Yeah, that's something I totally realized after doing all the sketchbook things. Just the act of painting. And I'm kind of a little bit still in that thing we were talking about, like Vanessa, like things are new for her right now. And because I've been mostly doing gouache and watercolor. It's not like it's a brand new medium for me, but I've definitely been taking it more seriously, doing like the daily paintings with it. And I could see like that like jump in proficiency in the medium that it's been a while since I felt that way with oil.
Yeah.
So that's been super fun, and it makes me want to just keep painting. Like I'll get home and since I don't have to worry about getting up early at all, like I'll just get home and still want to keep painting, and I'll just do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the great things about like just picking up a new medium in general. There's like this weird, like, this feeling. Like, like I suck. I kind of suck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And then you're like, oh, wow. Like, look at me, like 3 months. And from there to now, it's like, I thought that was good. You're like, I forgot that feeling.
Right.
I mean, you get it still, but you get it within like wider spectrums. And at least for me, it's like, something I think is really good. Maybe in 3 years from now, I'll look back and go like, I thought that was way better than it was. I mean, and it's less often, like more pieces kind of hold up, at least for me throughout time, and less kind of, I look back and go, oh, that one's not as great as I thought it was.
Right.
So when you start a new medium, you definitely get that, that like, ooh, these drastic changes from like one thing to another. One of the funny things, at least for me, that I see is when you start a new medium, you kind of realize like techniques that you really rely on. You know, it's like at least for me, I hold on to like these things. I'm like, oh, this works good. And then I like start there, and then I like go like, okay, let me like introduce, like, let me try that. And like, oh, that one worked good. So like, that's like another little like extra thing I have to like work with. And it's like not a slow, but it's like you introduce things based on like this, like very, very like simplified, toolbox, I guess. I don't know if you find that.
Yeah, I kind of just go off of what I've kind of figured out so far. And well, for me, like, for example, I've been working with watercolor a little bit more recently, and just realizing how big a difference the surface you paint on makes, and like more so than probably any medium, watercolor is affected by that. Like the paper, like the thickness of the paper makes a big difference if it's cotton or like whatever type of regular paper it is, and just all that sort of thing. Just figuring all that stuff out and putting different, like, there's the whole idea of like how the paper, the wetness of the paper, like how that affects things, and that's a whole thing to figure out. So it's just all this new stuff stacked on top of each other. That's like, oh yeah, this reminds you of when I was trying to learn oils a bit.
Right.
So
do you find like, at least for me, whenever I kind of dive deep into something and start nerding out on something, then you start building like appreciation for like the people who are like awesome at that thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Whether it be even just like the paper maker or the obviously the watercolor painter. But it's like, sometimes you're like, oh, like I'm diving deep into paper maker things.
I haven't gotten there yet, but
like you haven't tasted the paper yet, or like
no,
really like.
Although there are different smells to watercolor papers.
That's what I'm saying. It starts to smell, and all of a sudden you escalate to a lick, and from a lick you're like, who wants paper salad? And you're like, that's not a thing, Sergio.
Yeah. Banned from Riley Street for like, licking all the paper.
Extremely high in fiber.
Right.
That's cool though. So what's your paper? Let's talk paper.
Okay. The rare supplies talk that we have. Fabriano. I have this really nice sketchbook it's called the Perfect Sketchbook. That's like the branding for it. But it's like sheets of Fabriano paper, cold pressed 300 GSM. And yeah, for some reason it just takes the watercolor so much better than even like the Arches paper to me.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah. I've been using that.
Suck it, Arches.
No comment.
Unless you want to sponsor this podcast.
Right, yeah. I actually do like Arches paper a lot. There's probably other ones.
I've been oil painting on paper, and I've been using Arches.
Have you been like just gessoing up watercolor paper, or have you been using that oil paper?
I've been gessoing up watercolor paper.
Yeah.
But it's been nice.
Have you done that thing where you just put, I think it's just like latex paint over a piece of paper? I've seen Bryce do that.
Nope. Bryce Liston? I'm so fucking bad at names. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck is that? I know the name. Sorry, Bryce. Oh, Bryce. Yeah. Fuck yeah, Bryce. God. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with my brain. I swear to God.
I thought of all the people, he might be a first name basis guy.
He totally is. If I think of him, right, I'm like, oh yeah, Bryce Liston. But if someone throws out the name, then I'm like, it's like there's like a filing cabinet for names in my brain. And if you saw the dark, shitty lit hallway I have to go down to get the name, you would understand it.
Right.
You like look in the room and it's just like a guy with glowing eyes in the dark room and just moist and light skinned and it's like that. Like that's what we're like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Monty, Guy? Last name Guy? You're like, yeah. You're like,
and that part of your brain is like a little old man with glasses, suspenders on.
Exactly. He's like, let me grab my glasses. And he's like, why don't you have them on, motherfucker? Those aren't like reading glasses. Yeah. Goddamn. Sorry, Bryce. What the fuck were we talking about?
But anyways, if you've ever like tried to paint on that surface.
Yeah. No, I haven't done that. I mean, I just did only 2 paintings on paper so far.
Yeah.
That's because I was going to do, that's because I had the drawings because I was trying to play around with gouache. I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Not for me. And so.
What did you hate about it?
Just everything.
Oh, really?
Shout out to Heather. Just, it's one of those things where I was like, do you appreciate the artist better after that? I was like, after doing gouache twice, I'm like, she is a master.
Yeah.
How is she? But yeah, so I was like, I got these drawings. Let's just fucking make them into paintings.
Right. Yeah. You've been just doing it all on loose sheets. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's been fun.
Mm.
Yeah. That's, I don't know if you saw my Instagram thingy, but it's also like one of those things where like in my sketchbook, one of my favorite things about my sketchbook is I'm not ever afraid to fuck up. You know, I just like, I'll like start a drawing and sometimes, you know, like I used to have my lunch doodles and sometimes, you would never see me complete a drawing. You would just see me start and get to a certain point because at that point I most likely wasn't happy with it. So I was like, fuck it. I'm done with this drawing. And then sometimes like every once in a while, I'll like really follow something I like all the way to kind of like a fully rendered, finished drawing in my sketchbook, for instance. Right. So like, but it's like that idea of like everything's just kind of seeing where it goes. I'm not like very cautious about it at all. And I'm not like that at all with paintings. Usually I'm like very measured and like really trying to be really thoughtful and problem solving the whole entire time, which I enjoy that as well. Like I really enjoy that mindset. But I'm painting on paper for some reason. I'm like, fuck it. Like, if it doesn't work, I'll just throw it in the garbage. And I've never been like that with paintings. I've always been kind of like, I can't fuck this up. Even if I do, I'm like, I'll just paint over and fix it. You know?
So is it just simply like a different material that you're working on? It just puts you in a different...
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, it makes it feel like it's worthless until it's good, which is a great mindset for me to have it's like, because that's kind of where you get to play around and experiment more. Right. Where I get to be like, oh, let's try this out. I mean, it might not seem like I'm experimenting that much, but in my mind, it's like, it's when you like, a lot of times with paintings, at least for me, there's a lot of like, risk versus reward. You know, like, if I try this tiny risk, it might ruin this painting and the reward is very little. So like this risk is is risky, but the reward is big. So I'll take that risk kind of mentality. I don't know if you ever think that way.
Very rarely in like easel paintings.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. I should do that more. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm definitely more, by the time I get to the canvas stage, I already have it all laid out.
Right.
And the part of me that I find fun in that, when I'm at that stage is like the exercise of technique. So, even then I probably could experiment with technique more, but yeah, I feel more open to doing that these days because I just been painting a lot more. So, like if I am in a mindset where I don't feel like I have a lot of time to screw around, then I just won't take those risks like that.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah. Cause like if I'm working on a show, I'm like, oh, if I only have so much time to work on this painting, so I can't
risk anything.
Yeah. I can't go down a off-beaten path.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that just might be a personality difference as well.
Probably. Yeah.
You know, which is perfectly fine. It just, in my nature, I'm always trying to like risk a little something.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a gambler in life.
Yeah.
So, you know, but in painting, I definitely hold back a bit, which is, I think is good, but there's also growth in like risking shit. You know, there's growth in like, I don't know if this will work, but let's see. Like that mentality lets you figure out shit that, I don't know, to me is extremely fun. You know, is the fun part of painting.
That actually reminds me of something that Heather in the group posted a little while ago about what do you call it?
What do you mean in the group?
Oh, in her art Facebook group. Yeah, sorry. She asked like to list artists that you think are fearless. And yeah, I was going through that list to me.
Josh Lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And I was like, oh, these are all like my favorite artists.
Right.
And I just realized that yeah, the artists that I like the most are the ones that are taking the most risks.
Right.
And it just totally was like, why am I not doing that more?
I mean, not only that, but I mean, we've talked about this plenty, but it's that comfort and risk, right? It's that ability, because I know you enjoy comfort.
Right.
And in a weird way, that's why even when you talked about how you paint, it's like there's that comfortability that you lean, that like you lean towards. It's like but for me, the artists that I think are really, really great are the people that have put themselves in enough risky situations to where they have this ability to be comfortable in that situation that makes them great. You know, that goes, I can't believe you took that risk. And they're like, I mean, maybe they didn't know it was going to work out, but to me, it reads as if it reads of confidence of if like I believe in my shit because I've done this enough times and I've fucked up enough times to now be like, yeah, let's do it. And I mean, that's why I'm excited about the whole like paint on paper thing. It's like, I enjoy painting and I do still take some risk, but if my mind while I'm painting the whole time is like, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, let's fuck it up or not. I mean, I'll just throw it in the trash.
So are you taking more risks on the paper ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what do you think is the riskiest thing you've done with them?
I mean, it might not even read as risky, but to me, there's a lot of like little risk, like I was explaining earlier, like that I'm not willing to take. Okay. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't change the image enough. If that makes any sense. Like the risk versus reward isn't there. So I won't take it in a normal painting. But with the paper, I'll just like, it's like just little like strokes, like little tiny like things that I'll just try. And I'll be like, okay, cool or not cool. And then I'll just keep moving forward. Usually I feel like a risk, because a risk in painting for me usually means that there is something that I'm painting over that I want to keep there, but I want to do something over it, and it might fuck up that thing.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Where we all know we can just paint over shit, but there's sometimes in a painting where you're like, I really like this little nugget of something that I did there, whether it be like a paint stroke or whatever. You know, sometimes, I mean, for me, I'll show wood grain. So it's like, that's a thing that you can't just repaint wood grain because it just would read wrong.
Yeah.
Or things like that. It's like, I have to like figure out like, okay, I like this little thing here, but I think it needs this extra thing, and me trying to figure out what's worth potentially destroying because I think it needs this thing. That's the risk I'm talking about. Okay. Is going over something knowing that I can't redo it. Like I just can't like paint over it and try it again. Yeah. It's so you get like one shot. It's kind of like watercolor.
Yeah, I was about to say, it totally reminded me of like what is interesting about watercolor to me right now.
Right. And so that like mentality, a lot of times when it comes to like little things, I'll really hesitate on, because I'm like, I don't want to fuck up little things for another little thing, or even like a big thing for a little thing, you know, like I don't want to fuck up her face, this part of her face or something, for a little risk. So it's that like mentality of just being like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, if her face gets fucked, and you know, trash can.
Right. So for these paper pieces, sounds like you're willing to go more like high risk for little reward.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
It's my mentality right now, at least for that. So, so it's been fun. It's been fun because all that risk is just, the piece might fail, but the learning the lesson is more important at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a pretty big reward in that way.
Yeah, exactly. But it's getting out of your mind of like being like macro focused on that one piece. But it's hard to do that. But having that fucking paper somehow unlock that part of my brain is great. It's like, cool, paper does this. I don't know why, but it did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Like Nicholas Uribe, he'll just paint oils in his sketchbook and just close the book when he's done with it. Like that's like totally like the essence of not giving a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, because I make my own wood panels. I wonder if that's a bit of it. It's like the work that went into making that wood panel.
Right.
Makes me feel like I don't want to fucking put extra work into it.
Yeah, for me, I think that would personally affect it.
Yeah. It's also like time, like, like the amount of time you're going to spend on a piece also might affect it. The size of the painting.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, why the mind works, I have no fucking clue. But finding like little cheats is great. It's all about building like good habits at the end of the day. Good habits and strategies. I just listened to Sam Harris podcast and it was all about that. So I was like, so just having the fact that the paper does that to me is like, cool. I'll just keep always kind of having paper as, I'll always still paint on wood panel, but having like paper be a real part of like my habit. So like have a paper painting going on the same time as a wood panel or something.
Yeah, that's a cool discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the surface I paint on, like the more valuable I perceive it to be, the longer I hesitate to actually working on it. Like, for example, I had like a copper panel that, even though it was a gift, it still felt like, oh, this is special. So I should wait to have something for it. And then I just ended up doing like a standard painting on it. And then I realized that I was like, oh, I actually don't even like painting on this surface. So what was I even like worried about it for?
Right. Yeah. It's weird. That was one of the weird things me and MJ, I had a conversation with MJ about, was because setting up the website, I was doing these like little paper paintings and I was like, I don't know, like somewhere between $100 to $300, right? And then I had like a painting on a wood panel. Then I was like, all right, I'm gonna price like that one's priced at $800. And it's not a big piece, but I was like, that one's priced at $800. And I like looked at it and I looked at like the price range and I was like, that's weird. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I had to have this conversation with MJ. I was like, does that make sense to you?
Right.
Because I don't know if it makes sense to me. I mean, does the wood make it more valuable of a painting? And she was like, well, it might age better because it's a rigid surface. And I'm like, I don't care. But maybe it's the mindset, because I do go into
There's a lot of mindset involved there.
Yeah.
It's like when people kind of inherently look at water media as being less valuable. And I think a lot of that is because, I think traditionally it's because of like water media being seen as like, oh, if you put it out in the sun, it'll fade or whatever, or like display it. So it's like more fragile.
Right.
So, yeah, like wood is typically known as being like a more stable surface. So I think there is partly because of that reason, like when people are thinking like archival.
Right.
Yes.
But I didn't even mean that. What I meant is like,
but that just like comes into play, I think, like just because like that's just how people have always thought of things. So they're not really questioning it that much.
What I mean is like, back to like what we were saying earlier, where I'm like like I'm careless with the paper.
Yeah.
Is there something in my mind where like the wooden painting, I really like it probably took 5 times longer than the paper painting. You know what I mean? Like, like it just took way longer because I'm very much more kind of meticulous and like more thought out when it comes to wood panel for whatever fucking reason. But in my mind, it's like, all right, well, that makes it worth more. I mean, even though the painting on paper, that's the issue is that the painting on paper I like more. So
yeah.
I'm like, God damn it, I like that painting more. Well, it's less than that painting.
Right.
How do I fucking, God.
Well, you've talked about that before where you're like, you'll just sell a painting, like a small painting for more because you like it more.
Right. But I don't know. That's the issue now is, I mean, the big issue now is because it's my website, right? And in my mind, it's like if I remove here's the big issue. Is if I remove the gallery from my mind, pretend the gallery's not there. So now my prices, I'm like, I don't want to sell this painting for, like, let's say a small painting for $800. It's like, I want to sell it for $300 because I think I'll be perfectly fine with getting $300 or some shit like that. Or let's say $400 just to make the math right. Like, I'm perfectly fine with getting $400 for this piece. And I think I would want someone that might want it if they can afford it and they have that much money. I'm perfectly fine with them buying it for $400, if that makes any sense. What happens is because if I sold that painting in a gallery, I would want someone to buy it for $800, so I can get $400.
Right, right.
And then it's like, so if I remove it's almost like I have to play this weird, like, I don't know, it's not even a mind game. What it is if I was self-sufficient, if I didn't need a gallery to sell work, I could sell my work for way cheaper and be perfectly fine with it. So now it becomes I mean, we've talked about this before, but it starts becoming a real dilemma. When it's like, I need to be self-sufficient. I don't want to sell my fucking work to directly to people for $800 if I think it should be sold to them for $400. But that's the weird equation I'm in right now. And maybe it's a weird dilemma where it's like, you might need to take that, like, that risk of like, maybe just start selling. It's that whole thing of like, and now am I just going to cut my prices down and be okay with it?
Right.
Because then when I show at galleries, what do I do? Keep those prices there?
I guess so. Yeah, because I mean, it's a matter of like, I don't know how many galleries would be okay with you selling your work for way less than they would.
Yeah,
I don't think any. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they were.
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess do less or show in galleries less.
Right. Well, that's the fucking weird. That's the weird world. That's the weird, like, tricky business part. And it's, I mean, God, it's so weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to go down that road a little bit more.
Relying on your website rather than galleries?
A few years ago, and I just saw my income drop a lot. So I think it was more the problem was that I just didn't have the infrastructure or the fan base that I thought that I needed for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean no,
there's plenty of people
it right or wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's based on like business models. I mean, you might have 1 million fucking followers on Instagram and all you have to do is sell prints your whole fucking career and you're just like chilling. Yeah. And being like print person, or whatever. I mean, it's definitely a complicated situation. And then you have to like bring in where you live and all these things. But the idea of being self-sufficient and not necessarily relying on a gallery seems extremely tempting. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts
Right.
When you start breaking it down, it's just tough. It's tough to like, it's tough because it's like, all right, so I work with this gallery in New York, and they just sold that painting, the Send Your Son to Die painting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They just sold that painting, and it's like $1,600. You know, it's like a very small piece.
Yeah, well, what's that, like 11 by 14?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so if I put that on my website for $1,600, to me, it's like, is that ever going to sell?
Right.
You know, it's like, who's going to buy a piece for $1,600? I mean, funny enough, the person bought it online.
Yeah.
But the idea is just like, how do I justify that? Maybe I'm thinking of it maybe I'm thinking of the buyer too much, especially the broke buyer.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe I'm thinking of them too much in this equation. Where I'm like, I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot, trying to be like, people should be able to buy paintings for $300, $200, $100.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, that means I have to make fucking, 4 paintings a week, or 6 paintings a week, or 8 paintings a week. It's like, I can't make 8 paintings a week, no matter how small they are.
Right.
To like pay my bills and shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I've been doing with the little small originals, selling them under $100, I'm doing that because, and for like I'm doing them purely for fun, and I'm just looking at them as like a bonus if they sell.
Right.
And
it's
so
also like,
I'm not relying on it being a thing. I mean, it helps right now, especially, but
yeah. But also, like, the thing you're painting, you can probably paint really quickly.
Yeah, they're like an hour around.
So, like, to me, that's like, that's perfectly fine. And you can, I'm probably not gonna go route,
Right.
So it's like, it's all based on what your artwork is. If they were like, if you had to paint like, the fucking Painted Roses series, like little painted roses for $100 each.
Yeah.
It's like, to keep that pace up, to make enough money to like pay your rent and feed yourself. It's like, that's a crazy pace you have to set for yourself.
Yeah.
It's that like, it all depends on your art. I mean, it's just a lot of moving fucking parts is what it ends up coming down to. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on if you have the people waiting to buy your stuff like that. Right. I don't know.
That's the other thing.
And like, it's really hard to figure that out right now.
Right. Yeah, that's the
circumstance.
And you can just, maybe start low and just start with little pieces and start. Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like that's probably what I'm going to do. Like for now, all the stuff is under $100. But if I get to the point where I can't keep up with that pace, like it's just like people are like the demand gets higher than the supply, then it's like basic business shit. Like raise the prices a little bit, or just do maybe just slightly more involved work and sell it for more. So
yeah, that's that's just standard business.
Right. It's probably something I should have started doing a long ass time ago. I imagine how much further along I would be if I actually did this, like when I first got into doing fine art. But I think at the time I was just like, oh, I'm just going to paint a lot of stuff and send it to galleries, and that will be how I live.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I did too.
Yeah.
And then you come to the conclusion like, oh wait, this is almost impossible.
Right. Yeah. Even in the best of circumstances, only a few people are even doing that.
Yeah. And for large amounts of money.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's the mentality that I have to have, is that whole, like, take the gallery out of the equation for why you're determining prices and just start pricing shit the way you think. It's almost like, I mean, I've always kind of, it's hard to, like, in my mind, it's hard to price shit for galleries without putting in that 50% cut.
Right.
No matter how much I want to pretend that I'm not like, I mean, that I don't have the mentality of like, in or out of this gallery, this is the price, which I try to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like no matter what, this is the price. There's still, I mean, starting the website has definitely showed me that still plays a huge effect on my mind.
Mm.
The fact that I'm like, oh, these prices are way too high. Like, I'm trying to sell this shit.
Yeah.
Because even the painting that for $800 in a gallery would be like, all right, that's $1,200, which isn't a 50% cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had this conversation with MJ. Is like I never get the amount that I think the painting is worth. So
because you're selling it through a gallery,
right? So like for instance, like the painting that I just said that sold, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like 1,600, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get 800. I think I would want 1,200 for that piece.
Okay.
So obviously it's not a 50% cut,
mm-hmm.
but there is a bit of like the fact that the gallery takes a percentage
mm-hmm.
that makes me increase the price a bit more. It's not 50%. I don't want $800. I want $1,200 for the painting.
Do you think it would be worth trying to negotiate with a gallery to get their cut down?
I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on how much leverage you have.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the case. It's
mm-hmm.
like, if I could sell at a show, would you be willing to take, I don't know, 30% rather than 50?
Right, yeah.
And then bring the prices down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up making more money overall
mm-hmm.
as a gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't even be, I assume it'd be more like, I don't know what it would be. I'd have to do the math. Or our listeners could do the math.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that ends up being leverage. You have to have that leverage to kind of negotiate that. It's like, oh, could you take 30%? Also, I'm going to sell 2 pieces. So you're really going to make less.
Mm. I was just thinking the listener who can do the math, they'll do that for you, but they'll still call you a PC when they send you the
or a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. We're just like having
business shit.
Yeah. We're like trying to hack into a mainframe.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You got any other? What? I don't know how we even came down this fucking road.
I don't remember either. I just wanted to say that the gallery that sells my landscape paintings, Christopher Queen,
mm-hmm.
They've been doing this thing for the artists, like totally like out of their own generosity, is that mm-hmm. they've been running a sale where everything is 50% off. But the only cut they take right now is their credit card fees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so they're doing that through the end of May.
Nice.
So, I mean, I guess they must be pretty well off to be able to do that for us right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I
like
mean,
some galleries are doing are in a well enough position to do that for their artists. So that's pretty awesome of them.
Yeah, it's a weird time. I'm interested to see what happens with the artist.
Mm-hmm.
The artist world, because it's something that I think either will make or break people.
Oh, for sure. That's actually something I've thought about, like this whole being put in this position sort of back against the wall somewhat. Mm-hmm. It's definitely made me have to get more creative in like not only the output but just like in the way of doing things, like the whole finishing the course and then now looking into how am I gonna actually sell this thing and now that's all finished, and like it's just making me think of different ways of like, okay, what's gonna make me stand out. I think like I haven't had this like urgency in such a long time, but I think it's pretty important for the people who are gonna like survive, that they see, like they put themselves to the test and see like if they do this stuff. Like I feel like, this is kind of a little bit of tangent, but like all those things that people have wanted to do, like they've always talked about, like, oh, I'll get around to it.
Right.
Like, if you're not doing it now, then just like throw it away because you're not going to do it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, yeah, I was just thinking about how this extra time is actually affecting me, and like if I'm actually like taking good enough advantage of it or not. And I think for the most part I am. Like, I'm trying not to like go too crazy and like just be work mode too, because like just like the stress of it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Through the Fires. Like that's way more concentrated, but it's a stress that you don't necessarily think of at the time that it's putting on you until you actually step back and be like, oh, okay, I actually need to not go too crazy or beat myself up about not going too hard on it.
I feel a bit different about this circumstance compared to the fire. I mean, not even a bit. I feel like
I do
different.
too. Yeah.
The fires, they like physically affect me. You know, like I'm just like sleepy and shit the whole time. I think that's a bit of stress and a bit of actually just breathing a shitload of smoke every day.
Right. Yeah.
But this has been like the opposite. It's like I've just been so motivated and just, my energy just in general, because I'm not working, is like I have so much more energy to focus on shit I actually want to do. So it's like, cool. That's great. That's great to know. That like if I didn't have a job, I would have this much energy.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
I still sleep 7 hours a day, 7 hours a day, you know, like, except for oddly, the scheduling has been different. So now I feel so much better. It's weird. It's a fucking weird thing.
Right.
I have a random question.
Okay.
So one of the weird things is that, we walk around and like, we not walk around, but you go to the store or some shit, right? And everyone in the store is pushing carts, but they're wearing masks.
Okay.
Like you like look around, you're like, this is such a weird thing. Like it's kind of normal. Like I feel like everyone's kind of instantly felt like that's like the norm now, you know, like you're not like but every once in a while I'll look around and I'll like see like in the fucking vegetable aisle, you see like 10 carts.
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing masks and I'm like, that's so weird. You know, like this is weird. But so I like instantly go like, is this something like, cause first of all, I'm like, everyone's going to be painting people a fucking mask.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
I've already started to see it a lot. Yeah.
Right. So like the instinct, you're like, all right, everyone's going to start painting masks. But I go into like a grocery store and I'm like this is so weird and so unique that I feel like it should be painted. I'm not going to paint it. But in my head, I'm like, this is such like I assume it'd be people that paint like more like painters like you or like plein air or like, people that paint like from life or some shit.
Sure.
But it's like that thing of like, I walk in and it's like in my, like looking at the scene is just so interesting. Or like the neighbors, she'll like ride her bike up and down this like dead end road. With a mask on. And I'm like, that's such a weird, like, thing.
Yeah.
To see.
That is weird.
And, you think of like certain like past artists where they would paint like war scenes or like really important times in human existence.
Right.
And I'm like, I wonder if anyone's doing that right now. At least doing it. Cause I've seen plenty of like, like juxtaposy type artists paint shit like that.
Right.
And I feel like a bit of that is the marketing of it and like that end of it. But the capturing of a time in paint is also like this like timeless thing. And really thinking of like a moment, like not necessarily like these are the things I think of like when you really start talking about archival is like these moments where we're like 100 or 200 years from now, not necessarily looking at the artist, but looking at the work created based around a time period that was weird.
For sure.
And going like, this artist created this work. and you can really kind of get a feel of the atmosphere of that time.
Right.
That small glimpse. I don't know if you've seen anyone do anything great with this, like, this interesting moment in time as far as painting wise. Because we've all seen, like, the juxtaposed, like, style heavy type artists do something with masks right now, but I don't know. I haven't seen anyone like classical.
Yeah, that sounds like a job for Carl Dobsky.
Handle it.
Yeah.
But even Carl, he likes to like make things more intense and exaggerated.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but somebody who's
also
trying to faithfully capture the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there are those, like, I mean, Goya, right? He's like, did like the wartime shit where it's like exaggerated a bit. Mm-hmm. So maybe.
Well, I remember seeing a lot of like 19th century paintings where it's like like there was probably some disease going around that was killing a lot of people, and there's a lot of paintings of people on their deathbeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Mourners.
Yeah. I don't know. Every time I go in the grocery store and see that scene of like people, it's specific. I feel like it's specifically in like the vegetable aisle because the vegetable aisles are really low.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see out. You know what I mean? Like you can see out into like a bit of a crowd, not like a full crowd, but it's like even like 8 people with shopping carts with masks on. You're like, this is such an interesting visual thing that I'm seeing right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody tackle that yet, but I mean, maybe.
And do you think it's worth it? Like, do you think it's like, or do you think it's, because the issue, I think,
like worth it for who?
Like to paint, like what I mean is like,
I mean, for the artist or for like the society?
For the artist. The reason being is like, there is this weird like thing like where I've said like, you know, you see a shitload of like face mask art, right? So there is a bit when you see it where you go like, obviously, man, relax. Like we all saw that. We all thought it was going to happen. So like, you just did it. I mean, I've even heard like comedians on podcasts talking. They're like, everyone's going to come back with a million fucking jokes. You know?
Exactly.
And you're like, yeah, they're not wrong. But it's like that predictability of art. A lot of times that's kind of lame or like annoying. You're like,
when somebody falls into the cliche.
Yeah, it's like a Trump joke or something. You know, it's like, I mean, we all think he's ridiculous, but like the joke is kind of there. Like we all know it's gonna happen. It's just so, I don't know, it's so predictable that you don't like it. And a lot of art is like that. You know, it's like if I see it coming from a mile away, I'm not gonna like it when you do it.
Right.
But the one thing I've been kind of thinking about is that specific, like for me, is that specific, like we all go to the grocery store, we all wear masks, we all kind of see this like weird scene, but there's nothing like in your face. It's just kind of like, it's kind of like capturing normal life in a weird time. It's not trying to be like, look, I'm trendy. At least in my mind, that's what it is. It might be dead wrong. It might be like every fucking other artist where it's like, God, chill on the mask. We all get it.
At the same time, wouldn't it be weird not to acknowledge it though?
Right. Yeah, that's always the weird thing. It's like the funny thing with conspiracy theorists, right? It's like the coronavirus is a conspiracy theory, but if the government said it wasn't existing, they'd be like, "There's a fucking virus out there, man, killing people.
Right? Yeah,
they're not telling us about it." So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know?
Right.
For the conspiracy theorists like, out there, that community, they're just like. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, nothing is not a conspiracy. I mean, that's one of the funny things about this whole fucking thing is like the conspiracy theorists this is like their fucking, this is where they shine. There's like, hold my beer, bro.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm going in. But it's like, it's that mentality of like everything. It's like if the government just hid this from you, it's a conspiracy.
Right.
If they tell you what's happening, it's a conspiracy. So what the fuck do they do?
Right.
Do they tell you or not tell you?
Yeah. Right. I
mean, they tell you, obviously, because they're not fucking children.
Right, yeah. And it's like, even if it's a conspiracy, what's wrong with that? Like public safety. Like, isn't that the whole point of it, really?
Yeah, well, they'll get mad at you for that. They're like, they're taking away my liberties, bro. Can't leave my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's always going to be people like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I remember talking to my brother because he's in Australia, so they're not affected that badly.
Oh, no?
Like, they're doing pretty good. And he was like, well, how do I know it's real? I'm like, well, that's the issue. Is like, if we're successful, then it'll seem fake. And then if it kills a bunch of people, we all failed.
Right.
It's like, so hopefully we're successful and we pretend it and we all call it bullshit because that means we're fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Like humans, I think they just are that way where, the success of it is so uneventful that there's nothing to celebrate really other than just like living life. So it's like there's that fatigue that comes into like doing this.
We're all rich, spoiled kids deep down inside. You know what I mean? We're all like, my dad doesn't love me while I fucking wipe my tears with my Jordans. Yeah, it's that like everything's wrong even if it's good.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, that worked out great, like, because it was bullshit. You know that, right? Yeah. It's like if you're poor, you want things. If you're rich, you want your dad.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Your dad didn't show you enough love. It's
well, what would be the equivalent of like daddy love from the government when it comes to this? I don't know.
$1,200 check. Get on that shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I want my dad to love me.
One of the funniest things I've seen since this whole shit went down is on Black Twitter.
Yeah.
Someone like Donald Trump was tweeting. This is like very early on in the coronavirus shit and the $1,200 talk. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump was tweeting some shit and someone wrote, "You sure do tweet a lot for a motherfucker that owes me $1,200. It's just like, oh, that's such a funny joke. It's just like, you know, it's just like they're talking to their friend that owes them money.
Right.
That's been my favorite, like internet thing since the start. All the memes and shit. That's been my favorite one because it's just so funny to me. It's like, you really talk a lot for a motherfucker that owes me $1,200.
Yeah.
We just keep, that's a joke me and MJ keep talking about and this happened like right around like maybe like a week or so after the $1,200 talk. Someone put out that tweet and I thought it was so fucking good. But yeah, have you got a meme that you've really liked other than the black guy meme that you looked at for way too long? The huge dong black guy.
Yeah. I actually never even looked at that meme.
Oh, really?
No.
I got it twice and someone just sent me just the picture of it. And I was like, what is this? Why'd you send me a picture of a dude with a big black dude with a huge dong? And they were like, and then because the whole thing is like you send them a link that says some shit, and then you click on it and it's a dude. So the first time it happened to me, it was just a dude with like the big black dude with a huge hog, and I was like, and he was like, "Can you believe this is happening?" And I'm like, why did you send me that? Like, can I believe that you sent me this picture of this dude? Like, there's no link. And then I realized later, like, there's a link that's some tricky thing.
Oh, it's one of those. It's kind of like this generation's goatsy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the fucking coronavirus has mutated and now you can't drink water. Click on the link to read about it, and then you click on it, and it's that picture. But they didn't send me the fucking link. They sent me the picture.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, don't send me that picture. please don't send me pictures like this. And you're like, can you believe this is happening? Oh no, what do we do? You know, like their text reaction is like, oh, what do we do now? And you're like, stop sending me pictures. That's what we do now.
Wait, so they just didn't get like the idea of
they
what you
didn't
were
share
supposed
the
to do?
link correctly.
Yeah.
And somehow,
Was that their idea?
yeah,
Oh, but they
shared
fucked up.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So you're like, cool. And I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't aware to me that this was a thing going on.
Right.
And I was like, please don't do this.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Man.
Yeah.
You fail.
Yeah. So what was your favorite quarantine meme or internet thing? You got one? That stuck with you?
Trying to think. I'm sure there are. I mean, all the Tiger King shit.
Yeah.
Everyone was into that for a while.
Did you watch Tiger King?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of the hipster about it because I listened to the podcast before it was
really?
a meme or before it was a Netflix thing. So I knew the story going into it, but the documentary went in way more about like the whole Carol Baskin, speaking of conspiracy theories.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah. About her,
That song,
possibly killing her.
you know that Carol Baskin song?
There's a Carol Baskin song.
I don't know if this is only a TikTok thing, but it is like a Carol Baskin. Baskin. I forget what it is, but it's so fucking catchy. I think about it all the time, and I'm like, what song is that? I'm like, oh yeah, that's a Tiger King TikTok song.
No, I gotta look that up.
I wonder if I could look it up now, but go on. Sorry.
Yeah, send me the thing if you do.
I'll just try to play it right now.
Oh, okay. I was gonna see if I could run it through my soundboard.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Here, I'll look at it on my phone. Well, yeah, you might be able to find it there.
I was just gonna
Type in Carol Baskin rap. I'm sure it'll show up. Look for like a TikTok. Let me see if I could find
Carol
it.
Baskin rap TikTok. Let me see. Let me see. Is this it?
I'll find out. Nice.
Get out of here.
That's
Venom,
it.
The Tigers, they snacking. What's happening?
Why is
Carol
it?
Baskin.
Oh, because I had to skip the.
Carol Baskin. Killed her husband, whacked him. Can't convince me that it didn't happen. Venom, the Tigers, they snacking. What's happening? Carol Baskin.
That's what
That's great.
that song rolls through my head too often. I'm like, Carol Baskin. What is it? Fed her husband to the Tigers. The lyrics are genius.
Acted like it didn't happen. They snacking. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. That's hilarious.
You're welcome.
Now you're welcome to the listeners.
But yeah, that's gotta join the soundboard.
Right.
The snacking part. The snacking.
Oh, that was one thing I totally fucked up on the intro.
Oh,
I was going to intro it. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
do you want to do it real quick?
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's waiting to dry.
Nice. We're the only podcast that does an intro at the end of the podcast.
Right. I'll just stick this in the beginning.
No. Keep it here. It just, in the beginning, add an intro that says like, hey, wait for an hour 40 in for the actual intro.
Right.
That could be your soundbite right there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Never a smooth intro on waiting to dry.
Never. When you thought Sergio couldn't up his intro game, he does it an hour 40 in.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we're an hour 40 in. Did you want to call it soon?
Let's see.
Wait.
We got anything else you want? Oh, you were asking me about like what I think of Tiger King, right?
Oh, yeah. The Carol Baskin part. Yeah, we got sidetracked.
Right. It's probably more interesting than anything I have to say about Tiger King at this point, but what doesn't make sense to me about it was like how all these people were like are drugs that addictive that
Yes, Sergio. Yes, they are.
okay. That settles that.
Is there anything less or more addictive than drugs? Let me just start there. Is there anything that you would steal your mom's wedding ring and TV to sell to get?
So
I think so. You're not
sucking dick for meth. It's real.
Yeah, it's not like you're like, man, I could really go for a Krispy Kreme donut.
Right.
I'm gonna steal my mom's television to do that.
Right.
No matter how bad you want that.
Drugs are bad. Okay, it's a bad thing to do drugs. So don't be bad.
You're like, are drugs that addictive? Yes. They're the most addictive thing, Sergio.
Okay. I guess I'm just sheltered.
Have you never seen Dope Fiends? They were children at one point. Bright-eyed saying, President, that's what I'm going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So that took a dark turn. The dude has all his teeth now. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. I watched, for some reason, we ended up watching that totally pointless 8th episode.
I just watched it yesterday. I was like, there's an 8th episode. I started. I'm like, this isn't a goddamn 8th episode.
Right.
But here's a theory I have. Dude that was missing all his teeth and now has his teeth. I don't know if he has bottom teeth.
Oh.
If you rewatch it, you never see bottom teeth on him. He always smiles like this. I don't even know how to do it. I don't even know how to smile without showing my bottom teeth.
Right.
But somehow he does it.
Yeah.
The whole time he talks, you can't see his bottom teeth. I'm like, he only had enough money to afford top teeth and then pulled all the bottom ones. I don't know. Conspiracy theorists, hop on that. Prove me wrong. You know what I mean? Look into it, bro.
Yeah.
God, that movie was a lot. Yeah. Or not movie, documentary series.
Documentary.
But good times.
Any other Netflix things that you're into right now?
We've been watching a lot of shitty reality shows.
Oh, okay.
A lot. I mean, not a lot like nonstop, but that's kind of been it's weird because there's like certain things it's like I just don't feel in the mood to ingest right now, which I think some people are. I feel like a lot of people when this whole thing happened were watching Contagion and shit like that.
Okay.
Outbreak, things like that. And I'm like, why the fuck would you watch that?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, or even like dramas or things like that I'm not really into right now. It's like I want lighthearted dumb shit. I don't want to I don't watch the news at all.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly though, like podcast related, I've been listening to a lot less comedic podcasts.
Oh, really?
And a lot, like there's a couple I listen to, but for the most part, I don't even want to listen to that. I want to listen to like Sam Harris talk or some shit about some smart shit.
Have you listened to music a lot more then?
Yeah, a lot of music. What else? I don't know. That Dave show. I was talking about, what the fuck? I was talking about Dave, but then we changed the subject.
There's a podcast I've been getting into. It's I guess a true crime one, but it's a series. It's called The Ballad of Billy Balls.
Ballad of Billy Balls.
Yeah.
I love that word ballad. I don't know why. It's such a good fucking word.
Huh. Well, it's about like this punk rocker. That's his name, Billy Balls. And he was killed by the police. It was what they theorized. It was a undercover drug deal gone wrong. And
he was killed by the police?
Yeah, that's the theory.
Has he never listened to Vince Staples?
I have not.
Okay. He has, but never mind.
Okay. Is that, that just went over my head?
It's just a very small reference that no one's going to get.
Okay.
Let's just say he never ran from nothing but the police.
Oh, okay.
That's a hook to a song he sings. It's fine. It's a joke.
But yeah, that one, it started off kind of weird because it starts off with his girlfriend, like, starts to kind of narrate it, and she just sounds like this drugged out hippie.
Nice.
And it's a bit rough to get through, like, the first episode or two, but then it starts to, like, you find out that the person who put together
spoiler alert,
yeah, exactly, person who put together the documentary, you don't know this, but that's her daughter. And like this woman is just like obsessed with grief about this person that she was in love with. And it's not necessarily that she wants to get to the bottom of it, but the narrator does, because it's affected her life so much that her mom has just been like 37 years with this grief about her lover dying with no closure. And it just gets like, it gets really interesting as it goes on. So I've been really into that right now.
Nice. It's I mean, so all you true crime fans,
yeah.
MJ.
Yeah, I think MJ would really like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody's like, they're sick of their podcast they're listening to right now, it's one to pick up. Because there's actually a lot of true crime podcasts that go nowhere.
Oh my God. We were listening to one called Down the Hill. I don't know if you heard about it. Holy fuck. It is a waste of goddamn time. I feel like you know the exact same amount of shit the very first episode as you do at the very end, but they lead you on with like, next episode, we have the most groundbreaking shit.
Right.
Like, you already told me that shit, motherfucker. Like, God damn it.
The worst ones are the ones where they start off like that, and like you get to the end, they're like, we still don't know who's the killer or whatever, and so we're looking for your help. It's like,
yeah, that's exactly what this one was. That was the first time I've ever heard a podcast like that. And I was like hooked in the beginning, like, oh, this is interesting. By the end, I was like, there was nothing else there that gave us all the info. Oh yeah, and it's like they're just filling time. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's so bad. And it's that whole model of like how it's how news channels work. You know, they always show you in the very beginning, they always show you the most dramatic thing. They're like, stay tuned for this dramatic thing that we're going to tell you about.
Yeah.
And it gets to the end and they're like, here's the dramatic thing. You're like, you told me that shit in the beginning. I thought you had more shit. I thought there was more to this.
Do you follow that Reddit, Saved You a Click? I don't know if you told me about that.
Saved You a Click. Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
That's an awesome name.
But it's basically, that, like, it takes those clickbaity articles and they tell you like what it goes
right now. That sounds fucking great. Saved You a Click. Holy fuck.
Yeah. And there's some of them where it's like, it say that, but it's like, I clicked through this article 200 times and didn't find what they're talking about. So it's like, they save you. It's one of those things where it's like, does such and such cause something? And it'll just say like, no.
That's hilarious. I'll definitely check that out. God, it's the worst. That's the thing that I've noticed because we've been watching these horrible reality shows like 90 Day Fiance type shit.
So they need a Saved You a Click for true crime podcasts
where they'll show you like a fight. You know, in the reality shows, it'll be like this argument, this extreme argument. And then you get to the thing and it's like the entire argument lasted 2 seconds. The 2-second clip you showed me. And then they were like, I'm sorry. And you're like, what the fuck? I thought they were going to punch each other. I watched this whole episode to judge these people harshly.
Yeah.
And it worked out fine. I hate all that shit that like, that's one of the worst things about like video entertainment. They definitely manipulate the viewer to keep watching. That's when you know like all they want is your ad revenue.
Right.
When they're willing to just be like, we have literally nothing, but we know that we can keep you hooked by the tiniest little thing. Even like there was something we were watching where these people were arguing about cornhole.
Okay.
But the guy's like, he's like, oh, let's play cornhole. And the lady's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, they keep cutting like a talking head of him where he's like, I thought that was going to be our thing. But they like add intense music and shit. But if you like really think about that scene, then it was probably a thing where he was like, do you want to play? And she was like, no. And he was like, oh, that sucks. Like, that's what it ends up being. But when they edit it, it's like, dun, dun, dun. Like, she doesn't, and then they'll cut to like him saying like, in the past, she doesn't want to do anything new, or she doesn't like to explore new things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like becomes this thing that's not really a thing. So then I end up not judging the person, but the creator of the show, and being like, you guys are pieces of shit, not these people. And I was wanting to see people of shit on camera, so you kind of ruined it for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. All I'm saying is I like to judge people.
Yeah.
And sometimes
So
I have to judge
you've been
the
able to
creator.
get your judge on a lot with these reality shows.
Yeah, it's the worst. And even when the people aren't that bad, the creators are. Oh, God. And then, yeah, it's weird how hate can be a motivating factor in your life. You know?
It's our podcast. Oh, shit. Well, I have breaking news.
Kim Jong-un died.
More important. Vanessa and I made it onto Influencers in the Wild.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a super popular
Influencers in the Wild.
Yeah.
What? Did you guys really?
Yeah. So
On Instagram?
Yeah, I know exactly when this day was.
That's hilarious. I want to see this.
So yeah, Vanessa's been taking reference photos of poppies for an art project that she's working on, and somebody caught us in the act of it.
Where is it? I can't see it.
This is
It's on
hilarious.
Instagram?
Yeah, at Influencers in the Wild.
Which picture? How far down?
Let me see. Let me find it. She just sent me the screenshot.
That's hilarious. I want to see you guys in the wild.
It's a Tank Sinatra thing. God, how? Oh, it's April 3rd.
April 3rd.
It's. Let's see.
God, they post a lot.
God damn, they do. It's about 25 down. That is so funny. Holy shit.
Oh, I see it. You're not even taking a picture of her.
No, I was taking pictures of other things.
Because they're making it seem like you're taking a picture of her taking a picture of a flower.
Yeah, I was just looking at my phone.
That's hilarious. Don't read the comments. I'm sure they're probably horrible. Do you know who this Griffin Mencken is?
No.
Find him and fuck him up.
I gotta find it. Griffin Mencken.
Nice. I like that page too.
Wow.
That's hilarious. I've seen people and tried to take pictures to send it to them too, but I never can get a good shot off of a lot, especially TikTokers dancing in random areas. I'm always like, and it's done. I'm like, God damn it. It's fucking 15-second videos. It's hard to set up to photograph people.
Right.
That's cool. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm definitely going to read all the comments after this.
Yeah, I definitely got it as well. I'll try not to let him hurt my feelings.
I'll be waiting for a Sergio sometimes fucking artists gotta, take pictures of flowers, you fucking idiots.
Right, yeah. I hope, it seems like Vanessa is somewhat doing that already.
She's going at people?
Not going out. She said, thanks for calling me an influencer. Poppy season is fleeing. The parks are closed. I need the ground up photos for a model shoot later this year. I'll get twice as dirty for a good shot. So take it in good spirits, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, that's the most likes I'll ever get on anything.
How many likes did we get?
36,000.
Nice. Never say. Well, you didn't say never. Always say. Oh man. When the acid kicks in, that's pretty funny. Nice. Well, I guess that's the podcast.
Yeah, I think so.
We ended on a Instagram random thing.
Right. That's a good place to end it.
Yeah. I'm assuming you have nothing coming up.
Well, we'll see. If it ends at June, then that's the show that was supposed to be in May was bumped a month. So we'll see if that happens. And I guess if people have the money, check out the gallery that I shout out, Christopher Queen.
Yeah, you get 50% off. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Or just if you don't
have
have
a nicely framed painting, gallery quality.
If you don't have the money, you're still slinging some low priced work as long as you guys want food or
right. Yeah, that's true.
Like that. Or still life.
Yeah, still life's with an attitude.
Yeah, the bad boys of still life.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Coming at you once again.
I need like a little guitar solo.
Still life's after dark. You have like those dating websites. That's the funny thing with Hulu. Like I've been staying up late, like drawing digitally, staying up late. But it's funny because I don't have TV anymore.
Okay.
But I remember when I was in high school, if you were watching TV late, you get those like, pick up the phone.
Yeah, I do remember those. Yeah.
And
those always came on during those reality shows where it's like dating.
Oh yeah, ship date.
Yeah.
Like ship
Eliminate and and I think what was the other one?
Shipwrecker. There was like a one where they were on a cruise ship.
Yeah. I think that was
Blind Date.
Yeah.
Blind Date was like the main. That was like the first one. Yeah, exactly. Around that time.
Yeah.
And
Cheaters came on after.
Cheaters, yes. So good. But I realized that if you watch Hulu late enough, all of a sudden, like, commercials like that start popping.
Oh, really?
Up, and you're like,
holy shit.
That's fucking hilarious. Also, Hulu, fuck you. You're the worst of all streaming sites.
Why?
Because you pay for it and they still have commercials. And then you have to. And
that's true.
And you can pay extra for no commercials. So they're double dipping,
bullshit.
double dipping, bull fucking bitch shits asshole. Also, you know what I mean? Call me a good guy, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
This was another Waiting to Dry Rant Corner.
Yeah, fuck Hulu. God, God. Whatever happened to you? It used to be beautiful. Right, yeah. I had Hulu when it first started and it was free, no commercials.
Yeah.
And they really went a different route. They really went the double charge for no commercial route. And their layout is horrible. I hate them. I also don't pay for them, so don't come at me and be like, don't pay for them anymore, because I don't. I got someone else's login info. Nice. Like an American does.
Right, yeah. Same.
All right. Are we good here?
I think so. Unless you got anything you want to plug.
No. My website's going to pop up soon. So keep an eye out for that. And, make sure.
Rate, review. Do all that good stuff.
Rate, review. Slide into my DMs. Call me a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if Sergio will respond now that he's an influencer. So, so get ready for a cold shoulder on that end.
All right.
But can't blame him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'll always respond to Brandon Grace Fine Art. Shout out. He's the one guy who pretty much sends me a podcast related comment like after every show. Yeah. Nice. He's my Dubrovsky.
Nice. I'm sure he's a lot nicer.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's been Waiting to Dry. If you're still listening, you know what I mean? Fuck off, but I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.